Hello, sports fans. Larry Allen here at the KGLUS studios as we bring you the Carthage Bulldog portion of Pigskin Preview. Incidentally, don't know whether you know it or not, but the Carthage Bulldogs, one of only 3 teams in the history of UIL football in the state of Texas to have 6 championships in a 10-year span. The other 2, incidentally, Aledo and Salina. And the man who has guided us through each of those 6 championships, here with me, Scott Surratt, the head football coach and athletic director of the Bulldogs. Well, the Bulldogs last Friday night, a very convincing 48-0 victory over at the Tomato Bowl, the remodeled Tomato Bowl. And Scott, I tell you what, I thought, from what I saw, I thought we have a championship caliber defense already. I mean, you got 9 seniors starting, 8 of those returning, and 2 3-year starters. So tell us about the defense and also what you thought about them as far as Jacksonville is concerned.
Well, I thought our defense was phenomenal. Obviously, give up 60 yards, and I think probably half of that was, with our starters not on the field. And so it was obviously a great night for those guys. And, we can really run around, and I think we're very physical, and they love to play. And like you said, we're senior laden on that side, and I think it's going to be a good bunch. And then we're going to have different challenges each week, and for a heavy run team and things, and because I think we can definitely spread teams. I think with our big, tall defensive ends and our quick defensive tackles and our secondary and things, I think we match up with those guys, and we're going to have some challenges down the road with wing tees or slot tees because you only see them every now and then. But I think that those guys are going to be special for us.
Okay, go through the starters on defense. You did offense last week.
Well, up front, you got Quan Brown started last year for us, and he's 6'4", 225, and just really, really coming on. And you got Desmond Hicks started last year. He's a 6'1", 220 defensive tackle in there, and we move him out, and he plays some in. We'll play some 3 down, and he plays. And very, very good player. Kylan Lister's a junior. He's 6'1", 230, and he started last year for us and played a bunch. Especially when he did a great job stepping in when Ponce got hurt. And then you got a 6'3" senior, Quentin Owens. He's our guy who can stand up and get after the pass rusher, and he's played ever since he's a sophomore. So he really good player. And then our quarterback on defense, our linebacker Rayvon Ingram, and he gets all the calls, and he was an all-state player for us last year, and just solid player and a great leader. And then you got Jai Brazier at wheel. And he's really come on and made a lot of tackles the other night for us, and then, Kip Lewis went in some for him, and he's just sophomore. We're excited about his play. Then Mason Bobo, played great the other night. He's our starting Sam, and, he's about 6 foot 190 and getting better every day and can run. And then you go to our corners, Triple D, our DeAndre Bowman was our most valuable player last week defensively, and he covered the guy that's committed to Colorado. I think he got the better end of it, and number 3, and played very well. And then the other corners, Miles Halton, he's a new starter this year, can really run, and he's getting better daily. And then our 2 starters back from last year is Austin Morgan, is a senior, and a junior, and he's back at safety. Started for us last year back there, and son of Coach Mike Morgan, and then Cole Whitlock, was a starting safety his sophomore year. We had to move him up his last year to play some linebacker, and now he's back home, I think, at safety, and played very good the other night. So, I just think it's very strong. I know our staff's the best, the defense staff's the best in Texas, and they give us an opportunity to play good defense and win ball games every week.
I was going to ask you who the MVP was up on the broadcast booth. We were giving it to this guy right here, DeAndre Bowman. It seemed like, Scott, that every long pass that they threw, he was in coverage, and he was right there.
Well, he's our short side or boundary corner, and a lot of times he's going to get the goals thrown at him because it's a shorter throw. And it's just like us. If we have matchups, and our goals most of the time go to the short side because the percentage completion goes way up on the short side if you can win. But if you got a boundary corner and covers like Triple D, then you may not win those matchups.
All right, got some depth at running back, Scott. I had Mason Courtney averaging 11 yards per carry. You brought in Jaden Thomas. He averaged 10 yards per carry. And then you brought in Nick Stewart, and I had him right at 5 yards per carry. You got some depth there.
We do, and I think you'll see Nick Stewart play some fullback for us. We was hoping to get Hunter Hill because we like our fullbacks, but we need a kind of a receiving fullback, and that's what Hunter Hill gave us a lot. And he kind of got bad news this week. We thought we was going to get him back. Now it may be 7-8 weeks before he's back, and then it'd be maybe tough on him. And so, such a great kid, and good player for us last year, and that's a big miss, or a big loss. And then, but we're moving Nick in there a little bit because he's got great hands. He's a good route runner, and then we have a couple fullbacks with Schumacher and those guys, and we're excited. We got Brandon McNeely also at fullback, and so we're excited with those guys playing. They're going to get better and better. McNeely hadn't played in a couple of years, and I think he's getting better, and he's more of a blocking type fullback. He played offensive line actually as a freshman. So, they all got their little niches, and we just got to make sure we're putting them in good situations so they can be successful.
Okay, let's go to the offense. Your quarterback, Kai Horton, 0 for his first 5, including interception, but then went 10 of 15 to end the half. So I'm guessing he was a little nervous.
Well, I think he was, and but in fairness to him, they were playing really 4 in the box. Our goal was to go over there and run it when we wanted to, but definitely work on our passing game. It's the same goal we have every year. You don't want to play 10 just physical wars. We want to be physical, very physical when we run the ball, but that don't mean we want to run it 60 times, then play it with our schedule, then load up and play again next week when we're all beat up. And so that's kind of a plan. And when they showed up, basically had 5 in the box, but one of the linebackers was running through the middle of the field, so it was basically 4 in the box. And when the ball was snapped, and we knew they were going to stop the run with that, what they were doing, and we still threw the ball around. And so, in fairness to Kai, they were doubling Moochie and Kelvonte, and then they were doubling Kel every play. And once we figured that out after the first 2 series, it was kind of pitch and catch for him, and he missed a couple open receivers, but we should have been handing the ball immediately and handed it off more and made it easier on him. And then we started doing that, I guess, the second and third series. And so, but I thought he finished the game well, and that was the main thing. He didn't have a really good start. It may have been a little nerves first start, and a lot of people there at the new Tomato Bowl, and but I think you'll see him settle down and play well.
All right, I want to ask you about your receivers. I had 10 different receivers during the ball game. Some of the passes, of course, completed by Kai Horton, and some by the backup Wilson. And I want to get your comments on 3 of them. Montrell Smith, 2 receptions, 54 yards. That's 27 yards per catch. That's the big tight end, and I mean a big one, like 6'2" and 215. Craig McNew, first time we've seen him. Braden Wade, first time we've seen him. Both those had 3 receptions.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of depth out at wideout, and we got a lot of guys that can run around and catch it. And Montrell at tight end, he can catch the ball. He's got great hands, and he's got a chance to be one of the best blocking tight ends that ever come out here. And that's saying something. He'll have to, if he ever gets brought up in the best blocking tight end, that would be Trevor Murphy. What a player, and but. He's got great hands. He's strong. He's very physical, and so he's got a chance to be really good for us. Now, last year, Caden Holcomb was, I think, the best receiving tight end we've ever had because he was he really came in on his own and could really run. But we're excited about all our wideouts. You didn't. I think Kelvonte Moochie didn't have, I don't think, but 3 catches, and 2 of them were touchdowns. And then Kel Williams, they doubled every play, and he had 1. We got him one time without doubling him, and then we just missed the throw, and it would have been a touchdown. And so, they were trying to take our best two away, and then you can see the other guys can really play.
Incidentally, Jaden Thomas, we talked about him as a rusher. He had a reception. Also, Nick Stewart had a reception. All right. I want to talk to you about the kickers. You go out to practice. You got 7 guys out there kicking, and you said 4 of them got into the game the other night.
We did. We had, Brendan Phillips started off as, in our side S in pregame. I thought he was the best extra point kicker, and then I told Pedro that he was going to be our long kicker. For as if we got, outside 30, 35 yards, he was going to kick those. Mm-hmm. And then he was our deep kicker, and then he kicked off the first time, and then he kind of hurt his hip, so he was kind of out, but I think he's good for this week. And then you had, we brought Irvin Jimenez in there, and little Chewy, and he came in and kicked the last, I guess, 2 or 3 extra points because Brendan was perfect 4 for 4. And then you got Madrano, that's our sky kicker, and he did a good job sky kicking. A couple of them got on the ground, and then we pooched one over the middle, and he did a good job. And so I don't know, we may have had 4 kickers, but they were all on the line kickers, especially 3 of them when the game was on the line there. We considered all 3 of them starters. We had a long kicker, a pooch kicker, and then a extra point kicker with Brendan. So. We did. We have competitions every Wednesday, and then we had 2 of them. I think hit 45s yesterday, and then we had to kick another. And anyway, I think little Chewy won it yesterday. So it's competition every week, and it's good for those guys.
For the fans that were not at the game, one of our sky kicks hit the ground. That's not good when you allow that to happen if you're the receiving team. It took a high bounce. We recovered it. And then we almost recovered a deep kick. Came very close, didn't we?
We did. We did. They wasn't expecting us to kick. We were sky kicking, and they wasn't expecting us to kick it deep left, and we did. And then it hit the ground. And so, I think our special teams, that's always early in the year to play good special teams. And I think we played very well in special teams, and I think they had their struggles, obviously, and so hopefully we can play well again this week.
All right, let's talk about the Tomato Bowl. Of course, the fans could see things that they see every week, the restrooms, the concession stand, the field. How about the new dressing room down there compared to the old?
Very nice. I love the dressing room. The air conditioner's great. We had lots of room, and so everything was positive. We had the game clock on. We could see the clock when we needed to come out, and thank goodness it was a good dressing room because we had so many delays, and as hot as it was, if you have delays, and then you're in kind of a hot box, but that was not the case. It was very good. The air conditioning was brand new, obviously, and it worked very well. So the kids didn't mind as much. It's trouble when you get those delays and you're in there sweating like crazy in a hot box because we've had that problem before. So it was a very positive experience, and their renovations were obviously really, really good, and they'll enjoy that stadium. Gives another playoff venue. I know everybody will be
that's right. Yeah.
I know everybody will try to be playing over there because it's 8,000 seats, and and the facility is just very nice.
Now, I want to make sure I heard you correct. You're saying that inside the dressing room you could see what's on the game clock.
Right, they have a running clock. And we got the same thing in our dressing room.
Okay, so. All right, very good. All right, let's talk about the Leopards, Liberty Ilo.
Very talented, like always. Very, very fast. I think their strength is their speed. I know on offense, number 21 is a special back. He ran a 10.500 last year, which is burning, and he's just a junior, and he's something. And then they have a number 22 that's very, very good at receiver, and he scored on a couple of jets, I believe, against Arkansas High. And I know he scored on one, but I'm pretty positive he scored on 2. If he didn't score, he got down there and set up a score. And so those guys are very, very dangerous. And they had some issues in the kicking game, and so I'm sure they got those cleaned up. But we're expecting a lot cleaner game from those guys because they did turn the ball over and had some issues in the kicking game. And so we're expecting their best. We always get their best. We didn't feel like we played very good last year against them. I know we turned it over, I think, for the first time, and since we've been here anyway. four consecutive drives. And so they got out on us a little bit of the lead, and then we cleaned all that up and we pulled away from them a little bit in the second half. But, we had 3 turnovers this past week, so we got a lot of things we got to clean up. We had 1 turnover, on the 1 going in, and on a big long run by Courtney, and then we had the interception in the end zone. Then we had another fumble, a 17-yard loss that killed that drive on first down, and then we fumbled there at the end of the game. So we had plenty of mistakes for us taking care of the ball security, and good football teams can't do that, and so we've got to clean that stuff up.
Do you know the number of their quarterback?
I do not. He was number 3. I hear they brought another one in. They replaced him, and so we don't know which one's going to start. But
okay. And other than Hunter Hill, and you mentioned his situation health-wise, everyone pretty good shape.
Well, I think Brendan Phillips. He had a hip. Something. I don't know. I don't know if he dislocated his hip, or did something with his hip kicking the ball. So he may not go this week. Other than that, everybody should go. We've dealt with a few guys being sick this week, but that's just part of it. And I think they'll be ready to go by Friday.
Okay, a stretch of 3 home games. Of course, last year we had a stretch of 3 straight road games. Perhaps not the way that you would schedule it, or like to schedule it, but a couple of years ago you had some issues in finding games, didn't you?
We did, and very, very proud to get the schedule we have, and a very competitive schedule, and when it first come out, we got to go to Gilmer again, last year, and we got to be on the road, for a month, and. But now it's kicked the other way. We're at home for a month, with open week and everything. And so we won't be on the road until Pleasant Grove. That's a long time. So, but after that, we'll be, after we get through this home stretch, it kind of be, we just have 2 home games and it kind of be road warriors, and, which gets you ready for the playoffs because you always play them on the road. And so we love our schedule. We've got a lot of good teams out there that we're going to play, and I know Pleasant Grove's ranked number 1, and there's just, we're not looking past Liberty Island. We don't look past anybody. We've got to get better to do our goals, to achieve our goals. We know that we're not a great football team right now, but hopefully, if we can win the daily battle, get better, we can be a great football team and stay healthy, and no grade casualties or nothing crazy off the field. If we can achieve all those, and that's what we preach every day, then I think this team could be very good.
All right. Those are the words of head coach Scott Surratt, and I hope you'll join us on Friday night. 7:30 is the kickoff at Bulldog Stadium. We'll be on there about 7 o'clock with a look at the starting lineups for the Leopards and the Bulldogs. For Coach Surratt, I'm Larry Allen, wishing you a great weekend.